Well, as you know, Bush 41 beat a Democrat to become president and then lost to one 4 years later. And now Democrats are once again looking to unseat a Republican president and make him a one-termer. And though no one has officially announced a 2020 run quite yet, the buzz around a number of Democratic hopefuls continues to grow. Just in the last few days, frontrunner and former Vice President Joe Biden did nothing to quash rumors, declaring he's the most qualified person in the country to be president. Bernie Sanders' 2016 campaign says the Vermont senator is planning a much bigger campaign for the next race. And new progressive darling Beto O'Rourke met with former President Obama, fueling speculation that he's running. And former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg visited Iowa just this week and claimed his experience would be useful if he became president. The list goes on and on and on. So how many Democrats will jump in the race, and do any of them have a real chance of beating President Trump? Joining me now, Washington Examiner political columnist Kristen Soltis Anderson. Welcome back, Kristen.
Thanks for having me.
So what do you make of this blossoming field thus far?
Well, all of the names you just mentioned were guys, and I would actually think that Democrats are going to find it quite hard to not nominate a woman, given the success of the Year of the Woman 2.0 that they just had on the House side. I mean, you are going to have so many Democrats running. I'm actually more surprised when you have someone like today, former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick, coming out and saying he's not going to run. I mean, the incentives are there. You could be someone like Bernie Sanders, who was polling at 2-3% this time 4 years ago, and make a splash. Obama, Donald Trump, the last two people who won the presidency at this stage in the game, they were polling, if they were included in polls, they were in single digits. So it is anyone's game. The last two presidents have come from nowhere and won the White House. Any Democrat should be thinking, hey, I could do it too.
They all do. I mean, they all think in order to want to be president in the first place, you have to be a total narcissist, and you have to want to be the most important person in the world, which means you have an automatic glitch. But you're saying in the shadow of the Me Too movement, it would be very difficult and hypocritical for Democrats to run an old white man.
Well, you know, they can choose whoever they want and decide how they want identity to factor into that. I do think that you've seen a lot of talk lately from the Democratic side about the need to sort of move into a new era where we have more diverse leadership. And so it would not surprise me if that's a major factor that they discuss on their side. And the Democrats think about that issue in a much different way than Republicans do. I think Republicans, they say, oh, it's identity politics, I don't want to go there. Democrats, they will put that stuff more front and center in their decision making.
They do, yeah. Mazie Hirono today was like, we're not good with these issues. We don't like the thinking stuff. We like the emotional stuff, the stuff that resonates in the heart, the really expensive stuff.
That kind of stuff kind of drives me a little bit crazy as, you know, a woman in politics. The idea that, I mean, and I think that kind of undercuts women's position when you say, well, it's all got to be the emotional stuff. But you have seen, I mean, just think about Hillary Clinton. She constantly struggled with, you know, when you cry on the campaign trail, do you rise in the polls? Do you have to be tough and strong? I do think that on the Democratic side, a woman who would be very strong, who, as they all are, is polling in, you know, 1, 2, 3% right now, is Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. She's the one that I think is interesting to watch because she does very well in rural areas, which is not something most Democrats can say these days.
No, that's true. I don't think Kamala Harris will resonate in certain parts of the country the way that President Trump did, the way that will be necessary in 2020. But you're right about Amy Klobuchar. She's very smart, and she also tends to be a little bit more moderate. But the great thing about it, it shows it's anyone's game. And for those of us who follow politics, we definitely want to keep it interesting. Thank you so much, Kristen.
Of course.